Okay, we're just about set up. I'll start that again. I'm just going to just go with it. I'm going to talk to the camera like I normally do. If people pop up, I pop up. I noticed Roswell Ryan was just around. I apologise. I just ended that. I saw it after the end. But anyway, first off, what I'm going to do is just for a special person is show this wonderful, without words, it's all here. And probably feeling a little bit like that right now. Just the very thought of having to listen to anything by this guy. Anyway, that's an aside. We're going to crack on. I hope everyone is well. I'm just going to share some stuff that I've been pulling off the shelves and just get rid of that box set. Box sets are annoying, aren't they? Okay. First and foremost, I want to just change something I said the other day. Kingdom Come Journey. This is Arthur Brown. I said that a couple of his albums are definitely worth getting. Galactic Zoo Dossier and Joy. Now, Joy is, I don't know what I was thinking. I mean, Journey. Spirit of Joy is a track on here. This has excellent electronic music. Fantastic. It's for sound good because the sound has been a little bit wavy. Okay, this is good. The problem is I'm not looking at the camera, so if I'm just looking over the side, it's a little bit disconcerting, I think, because I can't use a mobile phone with less than 1,000 subs. But anyway, yeah, Journey is for one. That's for one to look out for. Fantastic. As for tracks on the back, and the man himself. Okay, just dumping that. We're going to be looking at a little bit of electronic music. Here is Tony McPhee, T.S. McPhee, as he is on here. The two sides of. Now you can see the punched cover. A lot of people have probably seen this album around. The inside actually has an insert, so you see the tears on that side. This is the two sides of Tony McPhee. At the time, he started experimenting quite in a big way, really, with synthesizers. And when you listen to the Groundhog's albums, oh, brilliant! That's fantastic. I'm sure you're going to love it. I'm sure you're going to love it. Yeah, if you don't, well, you will. I'm sure you will. The first track's a little bit weak, and then it just flies. Anyway, yeah, he was seriously into electronic music. When you listen to his Groundhog's albums, there's a definite progression. He moved away. He still kept some of the bluesy elements, but he definitely added a lot more effects and guitar effects. And to the point where his guitar never sounded like a guitar again. It sounded almost, it was odd. I think it just didn't work. He used a lot of kind of, what's the word, kind of a warbling kind of sound, electronic noises, which didn't really work for the Groundhogs. But here, one side is kind of pure blues. I mean, really pure blues. And that's kind of what he excelled at. And the other side is a fantastic electronic piece. It's all one side. And it's a wonderful, wonderful thing. It's really worth, if you haven't heard that, worth seeking that out. It's not a hugely expensive album on WWA. I don't know if any of you know it. By all means, feel free to interact. That would be great. Yeah, but that is an album that's worth seeking out. That side two alone. I mean, for me, side two makes it, it's one of those albums where, because they're so completely different in sides, it's hard to listen to. Oh dear. Oh my goodness. These are probably, I always notice I'm laughing a lot at these things, but that's genuinely funny. The 4AD reissue. 4AD are very good, Ryan. You should find that that's a very impressive pressing. I'll be surprised if it isn't. Very surprised. Anyway, yeah, that is a great record. I'm just humming and hawing what to do here, because the other day I had a bit of fun just spontaneously pulling stuff off the shelf. Today, I kind of pulled a few bits, knowing or hoping that Steve would be here, because there's a couple of things. I was going to show a couple of acid folk things. I was going to do that acid folk video. A lot of it will just be repeating what everyone knows. And I wanted a way of honing in on the 4 or 5 albums, which I think are essential, which are probably unknown, or at least very obscure for most people. Anyway, okay, I'm going to go with, oh dear, it's still random. What I'm going to do here is just something interesting I found. I put this on Instagram. I do collect all sorts of ephemera and bits and bobs. This is an old 78 from the 30s, L.C. Carlisle. But what is amazing about this is it's a Decca sample, not for sale. I've never seen a 78 before, which is one-sided. And here, look at this. Decca master pressing. Isn't that beautiful? You've got Decca spelled out in music at the bottom as well. A wonderful thing. I do like a lot of old 78s, and I really do love the sound of them. I like to collect them. Not just anything. There's a lot of stuff which is like, so what? Yeah. But I like some of the jazzy stuff and the blues stuff if I can find it. Yeah, lovely little find that one. I'll always pick stuff up like that. My house is becoming full of all sorts of stuff that really other people might call rubbish. Now, I want to ask you, Steve, if you'd come across any more Roland Kirk, or how many albums did you have, and if you have any more albums? Yeah, Beef Heart Nut. Yeah, okay. Yeah, this is a really lovely album, actually. It's got a couple of his flute pieces on here. I don't know if you have this one or not. Please type a note if you do. Fantastic record, and the sound on this is, as you'd expect, really, really lovely. Oh, please don't worry about spelling. I get it. It's understandable. I did actually work with dyslexic kids for a time, so to me, that's not a problem. Okay. Well, what I'd like to do is give you this, Steve. This is an original on Mercury. There's a couple of light marks, but yeah, lovely record. I'd like to give you this, and I'll get in touch with you, or you can message me with your address, because I haven't got it. And I thought I might have had it, but I'd like you to have that. So I'll send that next week. Get that put away. I think that'll be right up your street. Keep that to one side. Okay. Excuse me while I just take a quick. Okay. This is the Natural Acoustic Band, Learning to Live. It's on RCA from 1971, I believe. An absolutely wonderful. Oh no, I'm being watched by other people who aren't in the VC. Anyway, what am I saying? Yeah, this is a wonderful, wonderful record. Natural Acoustic Band. And why is it wonderful? This woman here, her name's Chrysia, unusual name. Wow. When I heard this, I couldn't believe how good this is. This is folk, but it's not singer-songwritery. It's quite a hard thing to describe. Her melodies and words and the whole tunes, everything she writes on here, is a level above a lot of other female singer-songwriters by a long, long way. This guy is a founder of a band, and he's actually written a couple of the songs, but they are weaker. Her songs are just absolutely immense, and I highly recommend seeking this album out. I actually have 2 copies of this. Both of mine, even though they look okay, a little bit crackly. I'm probably going to try and find another one at some point. I mean, it's still playable and listenable and very enjoyable, but you know what I mean. This, though, I really highly recommend seeking this out. This is a lovely, lovely record. That woman is astounding, and I think at the time, if I'd have seen her live or something, you know, I'd been a younger man at that time, I've probably fallen in love with her on the strength of those songs. Just beautiful, beautiful stuff. There's like congas and it's light instrumentation behind this. It's not a rock album or anything, but highly, highly recommend this album. There's songs on here that just take you another place. Free, Tom, February Feeling. The last track, High in My Head, is like a slightly spiritual, Eastern spiritual thing. Hello, yeah. I'm just doing it because it's a bit of fun. Although I've said to people that I'm actually losing a lot of the people who normally comment on my videos. They're just not there. They're just non-existent. But, you know, it's something to do, isn't it? As I recommend this, though, I seriously recommend that. Great, great record. Couple of weaker moments, but hey. Oh, yeah, perfect, perfect. I think that I pulled that one out especially because I thought you'd be here. I think you're going to love that. I mean, you may not. Here's another acid folk gem. The Sun Also Rises. Now, originally, this was on the Village thing. And here we go. There's a couple of, I mean, Steve has probably seen people like this in the staff rooms in his day. He's always reminded me of a couple of teachers. This is an acid folk. I'm going to say, oh, it's close to a masterpiece. It's quite unknown. This is a wonderful reissue on Wow, I believe. Great, great record. And what makes it great is unique. This guy, well, the pair of them, their vocals are wonderful. There's a really unique sound to this album. You've got pieces on here which are Wizard's Shep. Green Lane is 8 minutes. Death, 6 minutes. And they conjure up an atmosphere which a lot of acid folk albums kind of aspire to but don't quite achieve. This is top quality. It really is. I mean, it may take a little bit, when you first hear the singing, you think, oh my goodness, this is a little bit out there, a little bit on the edge. But this to me is what acid folk used to be. Yeah, exactly. You can see it, can't you? You can just see them in the garden in England by the river. A nice big one, toking away. But they really do have something about it. This isn't about drugs or anything, this album. This has a sort of, it's like about magic and mystery and mystical quality about it. That's what some of the lyrics were about. Tales of Jasmine and suicide. And it just, this again, if you don't know it, it's really worth listening to. It may not be when you first hear it, you go, wow. But you might go, oh my goodness. But this is a great, great record. Lovely, lovely record. And for me, one of the best acid psych albums, in fact, acid folk albums, I should say. When you, occasionally you'll see it in the list, top 20. And rightly so. I don't know how many people have known about this, but it's a lovely record. Okay. I don't know how long I'm going to be here today or what I'm going to do, because it depends what people say and do. I'm just kind of going ad hoc and a little bit. Yeah, those days for me are a little bit long gone, but yes, I definitely had my share. I found this. This is an early 80s, late mid 70s reissue. But look at the condition of it. And this period of Gene Vincent, of course, is fantastic. And I do love a bit of rock and roll. And no one really shows it, but I like to show it from time to time. Just go, you see? There are people who still love this stuff. And, you know, the big names are still around. but people don't really listen to them anymore. Eddie Cochran and people like that. I suppose in America, these people, I don't know how big these guys were in America. You've got your Elvises and your Jerry Lee Lewis's, of course. But over here, these guys were really big. I mean, look at that band. They knew what they were doing. You can just imagine it. Great stuff. Ah, hello, Rob. How are you? Yes, fantastic. He is just, I mean, a wonderful, wonderful artist. I think, and a lot of people who listen to psychedelic music and listen to that kind of garage rock and the basic kind of rhythms and stuff. That's where it all comes from. And obviously, you can take it back even further if you go to basic blues. But this is where it kind of kicks in. A lot of that's very similar. In some ways, though, this has more energy. This kind of sound, the way they played, it was just raw and new, and you didn't necessarily have to have a distortion pedal to make yourself sound, to really rock and to sound great. And this guy had it in spades. It's a shame that a lot of these guys later on ended up being a little bit sort of cheesy, shall we say, and were sort of forced down to ballad crooner route. But when they first hit the scene, these guys were amazing. What's this? He would tell you every week, would he? Yeah, well, I suppose it's true. If he was actually there when it happened, wow. Yeah, that is a story. Wow, that is a story. I would be telling every week, every live stream. Anyway, right, I'm going kind of all over the shop here like the other day. I know, as I pulled some random, but I'm actually going to look at a little bit of electronic music at the moment. In fact, I was meant to be doing that already. This I know that Vinyl Richie has the original, and I'm like, let me have it. A fantastic record. I'm showing a little bit of everything because there's so many different people who watch this stuff. Can't please everyone all the time. I think I should just learn to please myself and not worry about it. What a fantastic record this is. This is actually a mono reissue. And mono, wow. God, it sounds good. I had a stereo copy for a long time, but the mono, wow, it's the way to go. I mean, it's been spoken about a number of times, but I just had to pull it off the shelf because it was next to the other one. Brilliant, of course, pre-Spooky Tooth, and the singer is what makes Spooky Tooth. But this album, I mean, the whole band, there's not a single person in this band who's sort of the weak guy's a duff moment. This is strong, powerful rock all the way through, and I think Vinyl Richie summed it up well when he said the singer is really masculine, and there is a masculinity to the music, and a kind of not aggressiveness, but a power, a real strength to the sound of this album. And of course, most of you will have known it or will have heard it, but highly recommended this one. Yeah, again, it's probably one of the top psychedelic album covers. It's a shame, really, that looking at it, it's not a wheel like the Soft Machine, where you could have spun this around. That would have been absolutely perfect. Please feel free to answer questions, ask questions or whatever. I'm going to show something a little bit. I've shown this on Instagram because it was just such an interesting thing. Now, I know Rob has seen it on Instagram. This is a colourful guide to LP records. Now, I just want to show it live, as it were, so you can get a sort of feel of it. This is from 1958, and it's something that I assume they perhaps had or sent to shops, and shops had on their counters for people to choose the latest releases. Now, most of these, I mean, we looked at before, they're all mono recordings. I saw a book yesterday by John Culshaw. He used to run Decca Records at his time, and there's a chapter in there about the birth of stereo. I must go back and get it. It looked a fantastic read. I should have just bought it at the time. I don't know why I didn't. I got distracted. But here you see, this is how people used to buy records. Of course, no computers. You went into the shop, and this is the way you did it. I'm assuming. I'll just flip through a couple more. Wonderful covers, lovely stuff. A lot of it's very middle of the road. This was the music of the day. This was before rock and roll had actually hit the mainstream. And we also think that rock and roll, when we look back, we're always told that rock and roll and psychedelia and everything were the 50s and 60s. They weren't. They weren't at all. They were the tiny minority of things. Mainly this was the 50s and the 60s. The classical music, the musicals, the Frank Sinatra. That was the 50s and 60s. That's an interesting thing. Never seen one like it before or since. I tried finding some information out about it online. Couldn't find anything remotely similar. But, you know, I kind of like to pick this stuff up when I see it. Oh dear, that is weird links to it. Very weird. I kind of want to pull out some of my rock and roll 45s now, but I had to do a separate video for that anyway. You'll have to forgive for kind of normally a lot more focus, but these videos they kind of just ramble on and we just see where we go. Don't we? I didn't pull a huge amount of stuff here. I'm probably going to have to do what I did the other day. Random pulls. Or just end. Okay. We're going to have a look at a little bit of electronic music. This is Ohm CD set. The early gurus of electronic music, 1948 to 1980. It has 3 CDs plus a 112-page book and a DVD. This is a fantastic intro. If you ever get interested in electronic music, this is the way to go. Excellent book. I mean, really, and not sort of rubbishy information, you know, just sort of like throw away. Oh, I've heard it all before. Good little book. And the list of people on here is tremendous. You know, they've done a nice job of the package. You've got Clara Rockmore, a phenomenal theremin player, virtuoso violinist who took up the theremin, and she used to play classical scores on it, and she was incredible, absolutely incredible. Messiaen, Schaffer, Cage, you know, all the big names, but also some slightly different people on here. You've got Luke Ferrari, Xenakis, of course, Lamont Young, Milton Babbitt, Stockhausen, Usachevsky, all of these big names. You've got Parmigiani, David Berman. Some of these are edited. We'll give you edited highlights of some of our pieces, which may be anathema to some, but very, very nice introduction. There's also another couple of electronic CDs which are worth seeking out. I've got the name of them now, I've got them on the shelf. That's a nice little thing, if ever you see that. Now, this is an album I've wanted to show for a long time. In fact, it's called Roll. It's by Roll the Dice. It's called In Dust. What we always fancied music out of the Moon Tenants. Okay, yeah, I know some of those are just lovely, aren't they? This is a duo who play electronic music. One of them actually does soundtrack music. They're Swedish. And this is a fantastic electronic album. This is where electronic music really should be nowadays. A lot of it is, how do you say it? A little bit too much melody in it. This kind of does what analog synthesizers should do. I mean, there's a little bit of melody here and there, but this is powerful, repetitious, angular. Some of it is really, really kind of, well, but not offensive. Not like, forgetting the guy's name there. This is really, really strong. And I'll show you a little picture of the two guys. Here's a live 12-inch, another. If you're into harmonia, cluster, anything like that, these guys just take it further. They're unique, have their own kind of sound. But the quality of this is far beyond a lot of other electronic music I've heard. Here they are on the back. See, part of the idea of this album, although it's all instrumental, is about being at work. About, I mean, you can see by the cover, the hard work of being in the mines or as a worker. You can see they've got that. Fantastic records. This is live, and so there's only one track on each side. It's a 12-inch. Really strong music. I'd say for me, easily one of the best electronic records from the last 10, 15 years. They actually have done a couple of albums since. This is After Silence. Now, the first track on here is Blood In, Blood Out, and it's very similar in feel to those earlier albums. However, it starts to go down slightly, because you've got a soundtrack over added strings, and it takes something away. But it's purely electronic. It has a uniqueness and a strength. Add the strings, and suddenly it becomes a little bit like other modern electronic music. It's just not quite good enough. They've got some great melody on here, some wonderful instrumentation, and there's that feel and the ideas they have. Great, but it's just not good enough. It's sort of like it just loses something. They probably thought they were adding something. In the first track, it does sort of add something, but after that, it seems to weaken the sound to my ear. I was going to buy it on LP, but I picked this up for about £1 or something, and then thought, no, I'm not going to do it. Yeah, you can buy them on CD. It's a little promo. Right, this is another. Let's a couple of questions here. No, I don't believe I have. I will check that out. The good thing here is it also makes a record of it, so I can check it out later. And Scott Walker's later work, I'll be honest, I find it quite difficult. I first heard his later stuff way back in sort of 1990, when he did a new album at that point. And he's done the odd album here and there, hasn't he? I've got Bish Bosh and things. But it doesn't really do it for me. Some of it does, but I don't really connect with it. Maybe it's just, I don't know what it is. But there's something about it that for me, I don't really connect with. I don't know if anyone else here particularly likes his later work. Yeah, it's difficult. But sometimes for difficult things, I mean, I find nowadays, maybe as you're getting older, you have less time for things, that you just commit to doing certain things. You listen to something and you want to play something else. And it's harder to actually sit and listen to a whole album. If I do a contest, I may actually make that a question, like, what's the last time you sat and listened to a whole record? Because it's very rare, I think, for people actually do nowadays. Right, I'm just going to show another electronic thing here. This is from a few years ago. I can't remember the exact year. This is Brandt Industries Capital. You can tell by the cover that this is an excellent electronic album. It has something about it. Again, we've got Western Front, Polaris, Rats in the Walls, Endless Pressure, Maggots in the Rice, Sunken Gardens, Song of the Eastern Strangler. What an excellent album this is. You can't get it on vinyl. It's really worth having a listen to this if you're into any kind of electronic music. Another one of those which is quite a powerful record. Very powerful. And he's done, this particular artist has done the music on a few DVDs, silent films. He's done his own soundtrack. That's what I'm doing. Yeah, that's it. This is the thing, it's like you need to listen to more, but there's a whole world of stuff like that. Do you make it a priority? This is Brandt Industries Capital, Hard for Justice. It's actually another excellent album. It's a lighter feel than that one. You can tell by the intensity of the cover there. This is a very light electronic album, but not light as in wispy, and fly away. This has rhythm, melody, and grounds you, and there's a nice kind of beat to some of the pieces. Great little album. Slightly 60s soundtrack inspired in places, a little bit 80s. No, that's not quite true. It's a difficult thing to define, but he definitely carves his own unique path, this guy. And worth having a look at. Hello, Christopher, how are you? I'm kind of running out of stuff here that I've pulled off the shelves. I was almost like, oh my goodness, we've gone already. There's a couple more bits I'm going to show, just out of interest. My interest, probably not yours. This is the library music film. Now, I would love to have more library music. I don't really have a lot of it. A few albums, a few from the 80s, one or two from the 70s. But I'd love to have some more. You can see here on the back, these are the greats. These are the great albums. And these are ones that are all worth hundreds and hundreds of pounds, or thousands potentially. Fantastic film, though. It interviews a lot of people. It took a few years to make. They interview a lot of people, most people who are actually involved. The film itself is a couple of hours long, and there's also about an hour of extras, with extra bits of interviews and stuff. And what's good about it is all the way through, I mean, literally all the way through, library music is playing. And in the top right of the screen, they tell you what it is. So you can keep note of it. If you like it, you can take a note of it. It's just there all the time. And also they concentrate at certain points on the top library albums. So you get the talking heads bit, and it's fascinating to hear what these people were up to and how they created, and the amount of work they put into each day. I mean, they were working 7 days a week. I mean, sometimes like 16, 18 hours a day, and then doing it again and doing it again and doing it again. To create some of these wonderful pieces. Not all of them are, of course, some are weak. But there's some incredible stuff, and the workload that these people had to put up with. Great film, man. Just alongside that, before I show a few singles. Yes, I do like Caravan. I have a signed album. I saw them live more than once. I really do like them. Of course, the drummer died. But yeah, for me, their first album is a very good psychedelic record. Their second album is perhaps their pinnacle. I mean, wonderful, wonderful stuff. And the third album, I really love it as well. These are albums that I grew up with. And where did I see it? You mean the DVD? I picked this up on eBay. Very expensive though. I managed to get this for about £15. Yeah, £15. But that was the cheapest. I mean, normally they sell £25, stuff like that. Ridiculous money, really. But it's definitely worth seeking out. This is a very good film, and one you could easily go back to more than once. There's a lot of information in it, and just a fascinating thing. Alongside that, I'm going to show the music library. Now I think I flashed this up once before. I have this second book. This is Johnny Trunk, famous in this country for all sorts of different compilations of obscure and strange music. But it's a fantastic book showing just lots and lots of pictures with a little bit of information. And there's so many different library music catalogues to choose from, so many. He goes, these are all from his personal collection. Great. And it's just something I love to pick up from time to time. The print quality is very good. And it's just it's just, you know what it's like when you look at pictures of records. You just want them. Like this one is a great record. And in the back of it, there's a CD. Now, in the second book, it's a bigger book, the second book. And I thought, I'm going to buy the second book because it must be better. There's a lot more pictures. but it's not as good. The pictures are smaller. They're just not as well. I say that it's just not as clear as a result. Some are big and some are small. It just sort of loses something. Should have kept the same size. And what makes this, of course, is for CD. Amazingly, I found this in a charity shop. This actually goes for about £34 now. Found it in a charity shop, and then last year, and then I found another one in another charity shop. So it's fantastic. Great stuff. And this is a really good intro. The little CD is a really good intro to library music. Anyway, do I have the Mallard album? I have a Mallard album. Which one do I have? Oh, I can't remember the title off the top of my head. I have one, yeah, I have one upstairs now. Do I like the Mallard album? Yeah, it's all right. It's okay rock. It's not, you'd think because it's got beef up guitar players and stuff, it's going to be great. But it's a good album, but it's not something I particularly spin or play very often, I must confess. Okay. Yeah, I'm just going to show a few of these singles. I know people don't really like singles, but these for me are 3 fantastic singles. The first one is for Jackpots, Jack in the Box, which is just a bit of a throwaway A-side. But the B-side is called Henbane's Sacrifice. I believe these were a Swedish band, and this is just a fantastic little psychedelic song. It's only 2 minutes, and the way the melody plays, it's such a good. I recommend seeking that out. It's one of those. I think you hear it, you go, wow, I like that. There's something about it. It's very peculiar, very unusual, and I don't know. Maybe people won't like it, but I really like that track. Fantastic. And there's 2 more here. This was never released officially. Alexander Bell playing Alexander Bell Believes, and on the B-side a hymn with love. As you see, it's a demo. What a lovely song this is. It's quintessentially English. I was going to do a video on quintessentially English music. Highly recommend seeking this out. This is the sort of thing that Steve at Psych in the Valleys may love. I partly pulled these. I wanted to show these for a long time. I think you're going to love it. Alexander Bell Believes. Lovely poppy psychedelic song. And one more. And dear, sublime. This is the Almond Letters, an American copy. The UK copy was only a promo, and as a result, it's about £50 or £100. But I managed to find one of these for about 3 or 4, and I think the American one you can. There may be 1 or 2 available floating around. One side is the Tree Dog song, which has barking and sort of bizarre dog noises and stuff, and a nice little catchy song. But the B-side, To Henry with Hope. Oh, this is a lovely song. It's about someone who's left home, like a boy who's left home, and they're singing, Henry, come back, Don't worry about the fact that the mashed potato had lumps and stuff like that. This is a wonderful tune. Check it out. Please check this out. It's just great. Almond Letters, To Henry with Hope is another one of those that you hear it, and it's just a kind of nostalgia to it, even though it was written in the maybe 1970, I believe, 71, something like that. That is a lovely song. Check it out. What we got here, Love Your B-side rest. Yeah. Visions of Molly. Got held up by customs charges. Okay, I'll have to check that out. The name, the title rings a bell slightly. There we go. Definitely worth looking into. Yeah, I'll get that Roland Kirk off to you next week. And I'll just show you the last couple of bits that I want to show, because unless any people have got questions, great. So for numbers of people, I can see it here, are going up and down and up and down. This is another of the acid folk kind of variety. This was never released on LP. Yeah, no, Tim, he was amazing, wasn't he? I wish he'd come back and show more stuff. He had a fantastic collection. And the way he just showed it, it's like, here it is, and it's fantastic, great. Here it is. No messing, no faffing. Brilliant. Okay, yeah. This is Peace God, a Fibel Fable. And it's a sort of medieval sounding, like a lot of acid folk music, a lot of incredible string band, those sorts of sounds. They have an older quality, an ancient quality. And this harnesses that ancient quality with playing cornets, hurdy-gurdy, mandolin and bagpipes, etc. I recommend this. It has a sort of playful elements here and there, but again, it creates atmosphere and takes you to places which, I like to say, not many albums of this kind do for me. I think there's a lot of medieval music, and you can hear modern renditions and modern interpretations and stuff. But when you hear the pure, I say pure, because this is obviously still, this is made in the 90s. This is still kind of modern, but it has, it's not interpreted or kind of messed around with it anyway. It sounds like music of its time, so it almost takes you there, and you can imagine it and be there much more than you can of other pieces, I find. That's Paescod. Quite a difficult thing to come by, although it may well be on Discogs. I did do a couple of albums. And finally, unless anyone else has anything, Acid Folk. This is a superb album, Espers 2. Now, some people may disagree because it's kind of cool to disagree. For me, these tracks, Dead Queen, Dead King, Noon, Occults for Sun. I don't know what key these guys are playing in, but I think all music should be in that key. Incredible record. Long pieces. This is, I don't know what you think of them, but I think this, particularly Espers 2, is the way to go. This is a really, really good, atmospheric, powerful album. I think nothing else really sounds like it. This, to me, is the culmination of all acid folk. Just great, exactly. Just great. This really is kind of where almost the pinnacle of acid folk music. Wonderful, wonderful stuff. I keep saying wonderful, wonderful. Please stop me somewhere. Great CD. It is available on vinyl. I don't really like saying vinyl. It is available, and but they change the order of the songs, and I think some of the songs are a bit long, so one of the two of the sides are a little bit like, I don't trust the modern vinyl to sound good. Yeah, I was looking at Medbird. I think she's done 2 or 3 albums actually. But one of her albums really stood out to me. It may just be the self-titled one, but that's been on my list for a little while. But yeah, Espers 2, there we go. Right, I've kind of pulled everything. I've done everything that I pulled. And also, it's gone already, the time is gone. So I'll probably end the stream there. I started this a little bit early because I knew that Steve said about 1 o'clock. I know that people in America will be a little bit probably still waking up, some of them, and some of them are still in bed. But anyway, I'm going to end it there, unless anyone else has a question or two. If you do, show us my hours. No, I've got to go shopping. Priorities. Your wife is with you. Get your priorities done. Okay, what I'll do is I'll just pull a couple of random things off the shelf here. I did this the other day. I quite like doing it. Let's have a look. There we go. That's random, isn't it? And everyone knows my shelving system is really not. Yeah, this is obviously Odyssey and Oracle. Tiempo para amar. Odyssey and Oracle. I think I may have shown it before. This is an original Uruguayan press. Kind of bizarre, but there you are. A little bit crackly in places, but when I saw it, I thought, I'm going to have to buy that. I bought it a few years ago from the record shop. I think it had 20 quid on it. You're going to have to buy it, even though there's a few crackles here and there. Most of it sounds good. And to hear it on the original kind of CBS, of really heavy quality vinyls was fantastic. All right. Ian Matthews, if you saw through my eyes. This is a Vertigo Swell album, of course. No, it's not a very strong album, really. It's a 3 out of 5 stars if you're going to go down that route. It's not the strongest album in the world. But it does have a very nice cover. So I do find these kind of things infuriating when they do it the wrong way around. However, it does have that kind of quality. The kind of looking out of a window. And it just gives you those moments of reflection, moments to kind of take you off somewhere and give you a different way of looking at the world, just for a little time. You can see, I think that's probably how he created a lot of this. Looking out the window and things would come to him. That's a lovely record. Not the greatest, but good. Multiple copies of Strictly Personal, yes. And my Dock at the Radar Station, I did have one. I think I may have given one away. Yeah, I have multiple copies, but I just have one stereo and one mono. No, that's not strictly true. I actually have a repress as well. There was a repress with a different cover on a budget label. But the mono is the one to go for. I mean, it sounds totally different. When Beefheart said, he was fed up with the production, when you listen to the mono, it just, then you realise why the production was on there. And it's just incredible. It's a completely different album almost. It's, I think it gets overlooked because of the stereo. It doesn't really work in stereo. I think, but when you hear the mono, then it works. The production and the effects and everything work, and it just comes into its own. And the last record I pulled, in fact, they were both the same, because there was 2 on next to each other. A little bit of, oh yeah, not every day you see this album shown in the VC, is it? Not every day. I think this is their best album. People say Machine Head or In Rock or something. I really like this one. I always like this one. Nice inner. Great. Yeah, my favourite. Yeah. I think it's just a great record. I mean, for me, Fools is a standout piece on here. 8 minutes, 15 seconds of excellent heavy rock. It's a great album. Fireball itself, great track. Demon's Eye. I don't know how many people really like Deep Purple or confess to liking Deep Purple, but this is what I grew up with. When I first heard Deep Purple, well, it just did something to me, So there we go. Everyone, I suppose, had better be off. I don't know what happened to Rob. I think he may have disappeared. But anyway, that's it for today, I suppose, because these things get long and people never watch them back. I've noticed that no one ever watches them back. Well, you get a few watches. Oh, here's Chris. Oh, hello, Chris. How are you? Yes, exactly. They are. Fools really should have been played live, I think. I don't know why they didn't really do that live. It would have been fantastic. Instead of drum soloing in the Mule, replace that and put Fools in the set instead. Yeah, so I'm about to go, I suppose. I'd kind of like to carry on and just keep pulling stuff. You know how it is, I suppose. We all have things to do. You say played live. You played live with Steve Moss. Is that what you said? Oh, they played the song live, of course. Got you. Okay, I got there in the end. Yeah, I did see them a few years ago. At some sort of car show. They were fantastic. But the thing is, they weren't loud enough. I actually saw Status Quo at the same car show a few days before, and they were really loud. But Deep Purple is like, what? You know, you have your stereo loud, you have your earphones loud. And it's like, it was a little bit lacking as a result of that. But they were consummate professionals, of course, and came across really well. And Roger Glover stood out. He seems to be the one who still has the energy, still has the kind of the moves, if you like. Ian Gillan's beginning to look old and not move like a young man anymore. But Roger Glover, he just looks like he did when he was in his 20s. Yeah, that's right. Okay, so if anyone else has got anything to ask, say, do, please I'll give you a few seconds. Hey, Steve. Oh, wow. You saw Bon Scott's last concert. This is fascinating to find out what people have done and what they've been up to in their lives. I mean, these Eddie Cochran stories and amazing. And then you saw Bon Scott. Now that I would have liked to have seen. I always loved AC/DC when I was young, and I still love them now. I still play them very often, actually. Power Ridge, especially. Yeah, I bet they were the loudest as well. All right, well, I'll have to leave you to it, I suppose, and say thank you all for tuning in, and I'll see you all soon. Cheers.